Because the planet is a sphere, the levels and floors are very spacious because the volumetric surface area of each one of them is proportional to the dimensions of the planet at their respective scale. The areas are fully covered with spherical device networks that contain all the history of all the universes created by Earth from the moment of their inception to the current state and all future states. So, given the magnitude of historical memories, each level and floor tends to specialize in certain branches, fields, and domains of both organic and inorganic, and biological and non-biological by space vector coordinates known as sectors and age of creation. And then you have the visual that describes it. So as you can see, as you start to understand the nature of the way we build the planet using our own logic and technology as a civilization, you start to realize that everything has a purpose and is highly organized. You see, and because this vessel, planet Earth, essentially creates universes, all the information of that universe that we create, including the one that we inhabit today, where we are, or within the central sun of this universe, all that information, all the electrogravitics, all the telemetry, all the energy readings of those universes that we have created and this one where we are right now, all that is stored as a live state, as a memory state in our systems and the networks beneath the surface, all the levels and floors. Okay? And because there's so much, the way we decided to do it is we organize it and we sort it by essentially kinds. So there is a natural grouping which is based on the natural energy states and scales of it. So for example, the systems that essentially regulate the universe itself, the energy reading of the electromagnetic field, for example. There are other systems that regulate parts of that universe itself. So for example, the organic matter of that universe. And there are systems that support the inorganic matter of those universes. You see, and they add them in clusters and also separately because it's distributed and centralized and decentralized, you see. And not only that, you also have it for biological and non-biological. And because we are a species that we use our technologies to create universes, there is age of creations. You see, we created some universes before others. And because energy has a signature in its reading, what we call the telemetry of it, its electrogravitics differentials, we know which one came before which one. And there is this vast web, this network of what we call filaments that interconnect everything. And everything is connected. And all the pulses of each of these universes and the galaxies and the solar systems contained within each of one of those universes, they're all connected and they pulse together as one, and they're connected to the central singularity of the energy of creation itself, which is the energy that a central sun has, which is the energy that we have mastered so we can release it with Giza. And it's generated and harnessed by the core of our planet. So we're tapping into the fabric of existence itself, its electromagnetic field, its space vacuum structure field. And with that energy, we can essentially know everything. And all that is stored in our systems, you see? So there's like a history. And it's all sequential. It's based on the age of creation, from the first one to the latest one. And because energy is a life state and that pulse is always constantly being updated by the core, by feeding that energy into the systems. Because we're tapping into the fabric of existence itself. Because we're doing that, we're constantly getting the latest state of the life systems of all the universes that we create, because we're tapping into the energy of the central suns, the singularities of those universes that tap into everything, because it's a network that is interconnected, because a sphere has a singularity at the epicenter, which is the central sun, and that energy is essentially the central point where all nodes meet. The singularity is the singular point where all nodal points meet. And what's a node? A nodal point, well, is an energy signature of that electromagnetic field of that creation. And it could be anything. It could be biological, non-biological, organic, inorganic, because it has an electromagnetic field of its own. And that pulse has a signature and a reading, and that is constantly feeding back to the source because energy is spherical in nature and is interconnected. And because we have that, and this is essentially who we are as a species, and this is our nature, we know everything about everything. And because it's the same energy of creation, because it's exactly the same energy of creation, the energy that created us, the central sun of infinity, that energy that created us as a species, which is who we are, biologically speaking, is the same as the energy that we release and we harness with our core. It's exactly the same energy, but it's just the difference is that we are harnessing it with technology rather than it naturally, occurring as it did in the beginning when we were first created and manifested ourselves as human bodies, right? So because it's still the same energy, that means that we have access to all the universes that exist, the ones that are gonna be naturally, organically created by energy itself at a natural rate, or the ones that we create with our planets and our technologies. And everything that came before we were able to, as a species, create universes. So all the energy, all the information we have access to, and we know everything about everything. So everything is energy, and because we have access to all the infinite energy of creation, we know everything about everything. And everything is stored within our vessel and our systems and within our bodies that interface with those by our DNA memories. And it's fractal, so it's infinitely stored within each and one of our cells and our body. So everything is contained within us and also within the vessel, which is part of us. So this is how it works. So because obviously space is a location, it's a coordinate in the vast network of infinity, right? That means that there is an electromagnetic reading, right? Telemetry, electrogravitics, and that translates into information, right? Metrics, measurements, and we call that a vector, a location, a coordinate in space. So because we are that and we know everything about everything, because we have the electromagnetic field reading of everything that exists, we know everything, all the locations. And because we created, and there is ages of creation, and those that we didn't create that were created before us, we also have access to that. And the ones that are being created and will be created, because we know the natural readings of the signature of everything, that means that we know everything, which means that the way we organize and we sort everything is specifically by that signature, which is by groupings of ages and clusters. So it's easier. So when we are in the bridge and we're interfacing with the bridge and we're essentially just choosing a destination to manifest there or anything, biologically or with the technology as a planet, we just simply search and locate things by its energy reading, its signature. And it's based on the vector and the sector and its age, because everything is accessible, it's data. But it's not data per se, as in basic things that you might think of. Is actually energy readings, electrogravitics, and telemetry. It's a live state that exists. It's energy that exists. It's alive. It's energy. It's pulsing, and it's alive. And because it's alive and it exists, it creates. So, and because it exists and it creates, it can, be accessed. And this is what we do. So this is how we organize things, you see? So because infinity by definition is infinite, that means there is an infinite number of universes, that there is an infinite number of sectors and vectors and coordinates and fields and branches of creation, both organic and inorganic, biological and non-biological. And all that information is contained within us, and each and one of our DNA memories contained within our DNA, which is in each and one of our cells, and our bodies in general, and the vessel, which is the planet, and all the systems that make it possible. So this is how it works, and this is the species that we are.